to start the show. And I'm going to get started right after this.
What's up, Bryant? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, David. How you doing today?
I'm all right. What have I been calling it? Manic Monday. I kind of wish there wasn't 3 Manic Mondays so far, but what can you do? We're not part of the 49ers franchise or anything, so it's not like we could just be fans. All we can do is root for our team, right? But it just seems like every week, someone's getting hurt. Like Jordan Elliott has an ankle issue. Sam Okinawa, ankle issue. D. Winters, knee. All these guys are day to day. Yep, there's the man in charge right there. I'd say the man with the plan, but I don't know. You tell me, does he have a plan? Because
I think he does, but I'd like to think he does, but at this point, I think the stats say that he's the most injured one of all. Since he's been the head coach or the wizard of all, hey, Mr. Wizard, he's the one with all the questions. If you want to say his practices are, so intense, okay, that's a way out, I guess. But at this point, since Kyle's come on, we've been the most injured team of all. So you can dispute it. You can say it's bad luck. You can say whatever you want. But if he's only doing half-day practices, because we're not practicing as long as other teams, how much more physical or violent or difficult is a Kyle Shanahan practice compared to an Andy Reid practice? What do you think, David?
Well, it's just an interesting subject because it's like we've heard players say the Niners practice hard, like pads, helmets, hitting. They practice hard. I'm sitting there going, and I mean, I'm all about a guy being in football shape, but that's in football shape. That doesn't necessarily mean taking hits in practice. And I mean, so we changed the strength and conditioning heads, right? But the rest of the guys, it's just it's the same crew that we've had since 2017. It's just they keep getting promoted and moved around, and it's like obviously Shanahan, you need to go through, be that guy, be that guy that says, we have a big issue. Thanks for your service, but you are no longer with the 49ers. And it's time to find some people that will actually be good strength and conditioning guys for our group. Guys, because we have a lot of soft tissue injuries. It is like ridiculous how many soft tissue injuries we get. Hamstrings, calves. I mean, like right now we got Jake Brendel with the hamstring, which I'm not complaining about. You won't hear me complain about that.
So would you say there's a probability that these guys are getting injured during practice, not saying anything or not noticing it, and then going into the game and then suffering more of a significant injury?
Well, you can push yourself to the point where something's starting, and you might think, oh, that's just from practice. I mean, no big deal. It's just from practice. It's not really an injury. Then you get in the game and you're going full speed hitting people, and all of a sudden it comes up. This could happen. It probably does happen. Javon Hargrave was the guy. He said, he came over from Philly. He's like, our practices are real. He's like, compared to Philadelphia, they don't practice this hard. I'm sitting there going, like, hold on a second here. Like, what? Why are we practicing like that? You know, put your helmet and pads on and hit every now and again, but it almost seems like, you know, and I've been I don't think we practice enough, you know, but if we're going full speed hitting people at practice, then no, we shouldn't have any more practices. If you're practicing like the other teams in the NFL practice, let's get another practice day, you know, but it's just really not like that, you know. Like other teams, I hear that they kind of practice on Tuesday and Wednesday. Not really, you know, they're just out there. And then like Thursday, they put the pads on, you know, and Friday, we're like straight Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we have the pads on, we're hitting, you know. And you know, like Trent Williams and Bosa, they both get the Veterans Day when Bosa was with us, and you know he's out for the season. But they both get the Veterans Day. CMC's getting the Veterans Day, and it's like, you want to give the whole team a Veterans Day, you know, like. But then again, these guys need to be in football shape. So here we are. You know, we start the season, 3 preseason games. You know, we got all the OTAs, and there's rules about how many practices you can have and how long they are, but there's no rules about going full speed and hitting people. No rules about that. And Shanahan has his philosophy. But, you know, and yes, we have lost guys during practice. You know, we have here and there. It's not all the time. It's always during the game, it seems like, right? And it seems like it's happening. You know, we lose multiple people, like the Fred Warner. When that injury happened, we also lost like Renardo Green for a week at that point. You know, there was probably someone else I'm not mentioning. Willing to bet. Then, you know, the next week we lose Jake Brendel, which that ain't much of a loss. Let's be honest here. But then we lose Bryce Huff, and that's a huge loss because he's by far our best pass rusher right now. You know, and it just there's probably someone else. Like Juwan Jennings is constantly getting broken ribs and strained calves and stuff like that. You know, Ricky Purcell hasn't been able to practice with his knee yet. You know, it's almost like Shanahan's like, I'm not putting these. You can only bring back so many players from IR, right? So far we've brought back Kittle. They opened Spencer Burford's practice window, although they didn't bring him back last game, so that'll be this next game, right? Then they bring back. They just opened Ben Barch's practice window. They brought back Malik Mustafa. This is 4. So who else is on IR that you guys are like saving those other spots for? Like, do you plan on bringing Ayuk back? You know, that'd be 5. You can bring 8 players back. That's 5. So then who are these other 3 guys? Do I not know anything? Like, you know, it's almost like he's planning on someone else getting hurt and having to bring them back at some point. You know, and we shouldn't have to live our lives this way is what I'm saying. We shouldn't. You know. And here we go. We got the chat cracking. Looks like it's been cracking. We got David Corona. What's up, buddy? Bebop. What's happening? Oh, Chad Schrader, the Steelers fan. I feel you, buddy. I kind of feel like, you know, that game. I actually turned it off in the 4th quarter when it got to the point where it's like, yeah, that's not happening. Yes, I kind of feel that way. I kind of feel this way too because the Texans were clearly doing to us what they did to be what we did to Bijan Robinson. They were taking the best player on our offense away. Clearly. So at that point, you're looking at how fast their pass rush is coming. They have like the number 1 and 4 ranked defensive ends in the league. Hello. Going up against, our old Trent Williams and his one ankle and, Colton McKivitz and his speed rushing issue, and Mac Jones, if he doesn't get that ball out in 2 seconds, he's getting hit. So why is he all of a sudden like Shanahan changes the game plan from last week? I think he's trying to be smart, but sometimes you can't outsmart yourself. Okay. And how many times have you heard me say that about Shanahan, Bryant?
David, sorry to cut you off, but it's not really the what happened with the game plan is Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings made a big deal and said, I want the ball more. I want the ball more. The last couple of games, we've been winning with Kendrick Bourne. We've been throwing the ball to Kendrick Bourne and making things happen. And all of a sudden, we start featuring Juwan Jennings, and hey, he catches it sometimes, but he's dropped it sometimes too in the last couple of games. And this game, we just so often off. How many times did we throw it to KB? We hardly did in this game, but Juwan. So it's like if you talk, you got to show up too. And when somebody with 5 broken ribs and 2 bad ankles, I don't understand why the guy's still on the team or suiting up. He should be on IR. I know there's only so many spots, but come on, David. This is we were winning with KB, so I don't know why the game plan changed at all. Because if it ain't broke, why are we fixing it? Why are we touching it?
Well, you remember last year, Debo was like, I'm not getting enough touches, even though he was getting like the most touches of anyone on the team. I'm not getting enough touches. And we targeted him and he failed massively, like spectacularly failed. Now he's a commander and he's actually looking like his old self. It's like, obviously he checked out on the 49ers last year. So Tommy has a serious question. When you buying an Eddie Pinheiro jersey?
Let's wait. We'll save the money for. We'll see if he sticks around until next year. With Moody, we knew that was going to happen at least 1 or 2 seasons. With the draft capital, that was well money good spent. And shout out to Moody. He's on the Bears. He's doing okay. So. Maybe different scenery is better for him. We'll see.
Ooh, Chad Schrader's Steelers fans. He is not feeling Aaron Rodgers right now.
I still think if we would have went for Aaron Rodgers instead of signing Brock Purdy, we would have been like, how much are we signing Brock Purdy for? And Aaron Rodgers only wanted like $9 million. I mean, like, damn, David, why? Aaron Rodgers, one of the first places.
But then we're still in the same boat with the bad offensive line and who's at wide receiver.
Really seriously though, honestly, with paying Aaron Rodgers $9 million, somewhere around there, we would have been able to afford an offensive line with as much money as like Brock Purdy's taken away from the table. There's only so much to put on the plate. And
Bryant, we have like almost $40 million to spend.
Okay, so if that's the case, then why aren't we pulling the trigger? Why are we being so cheap? The Super Bowl's at our stadium this year. Why don't we care about that? Or maybe not us as fans or YouTubers or super fans, as we want to say. Why doesn't
ownership care about this? Now I feel you there. And it's like this offseason, there was a couple offensive linemen, like I was drooling over Drew Dahlman, and nope, he goes to the Bears. And it's like Shanahan does not care about the offensive line. He'll put a bunch of mids out there, not even average guys, below average guys, and think it's fine. I can scheme around that. Well, how did the scheme do yesterday? Because the wide receivers couldn't get open, and the pass rush was coming incredibly fast. So at some point, you adjust your game plan. You start doing quick slants to get that ball out of the quarterback's hand in 2 seconds. And I never saw an adjustment.
I guess Juwan Jennings just isn't 2 seconds fast because every time they went to throw the ball, it was going to Juwan. They targeted Kittle and they targeted Tongas, and what happened there? They got touchdowns. So I feel like the game plan was really one-sided because of vocals in the locker room. But I don't know. What do I know? I'm just a fan watching the game, looking from the outside of the locker room. Wishing I could be
I'm just a fan watching them take CMC away, destroy our offensive line, cover our wide receivers. I'm going. Come on, Shanahan, think of something, dude. Like, you're this offensive genius, right? Let's see it. Let's see this happen. And like nothing changed. He didn't change up the game plan. It was. I mean, when we came out after half, he made adjustments, and all of a sudden we're able to score. Well, we scored some. I can't say we did a lot. We scored that touchdown before halftime, which that's something else I want to get into is we got our first interception, right? Kenny.
Yeah.
Kenny. So we got our first interception. Diamador Lenore is running down the field, and instead of going out of bounds with 2 seconds left in field goal range, he turns towards the inside. What are you doing, dude? Take the points, go out of bounds right there. 2 seconds on the clock. Get Eddie Pinero out there, kick a field goal. Then all of a sudden we have 10 points instead of 7. And it's just, I was watching that play that was such a rookie move. What is going on here? And I mean, I don't know what to say. Juwan Jennings, that deep ball they threw, he had it in his hand, but then for some reason he couldn't pull it in. It's not like he got knocked out. He just couldn't complete the catch. He dropped it.
That's a good point because there are several times that, other wide receivers were targeted, not just Juwan Jennings. And Mac Jones was throwing darts, and it was hitting the players in their hands and bouncing off. And that's really bad when it hits a wide receiver, running back, tight end in their hands, and it bounces off. It doesn't matter if it's contended or not. When it hits you in your breadbasket, you got to make the play.
You got to catch it.
Yeah.
You got to catch it.
Yeah.
And we have a rookie wide receiver, which we all know how Shanahan feels about rookie wide receivers. Okay. We all know that.
He only uses them if he has to.
Jordan Watkins has great hands, great speed, and he was only out there for a couple plays. It's like, why do you draft these guys like Purcell with his knee injury? He's quicker than Ayuk and Debo and Jennings
on one leg.
And this is true, though. This is true. And it's like, Kendrick Bourne, his hands aren't the greatest either. We all remember back in the day.
But he's got one better hand than Jennings.
He might, yeah. Jennings, he's never had great hands. He's had good hands, not great.
On third down only. That's the exception.
And, he did make a play or two that made you go, all right, there you go. And then, it's just like you're playing with a bad calf, cracked ribs. You got to respect that. But at the same time, when do you tell Shanahan, look, you got to make me inactive and suit up someone that can actually do something on the field? I'm not saying he can't. But when do you say, I need time to heal? And I get it. He's in a contract year, so he wants that ball because he's in a contract year. This is the last year of his contract. Chances are he's not coming back.
Okay, but let's be real. Even if Jennings would have caught that ball in the Super Bowl and maybe even became MVP of the Super Bowl, was he going to turn into a number one wide receiver for the 49ers? No. Honestly, no. He would have just been the hero for that game. He would have fell out of, favor. Would he maybe have made a strong run for number two? Maybe. But when we had Ayuk and Debo on a team, and if we would have won the Super Bowl, Ayuk and Debo's, they weren't going to be going anywhere. There would have been more money for them both to stick around. There was no reason to tear up the band, or break up the band when everybody was contributing and it would have been one of those days. Oh, Ayuk picked up the slack. He picked up the rest of the gear, before we left. Nobody left anything. That would have been it. Jennings is not going to be anything more than what he is right now. I understand the guy wants a bigger contract. Everybody wants a bigger contract. They want to be paid better than what they're currently getting. I get it. But there's limitations to everybody. I don't think we are the team that Juwan Jennings could fully thrive in, nor is he a player that we can't utilize either. But the problem is we have so many mouths to feed. We can't throw Juwan the ball every play. He's not that guy. He's the guy that we throw the ball on third down when nobody's remembering or realizing he's on the field. He's that guy. He's not the guy that we go number one, number two, number three, give him every look on. No, David, you know the reason we lost the game the other day? CMC didn't touch the ball in the first quarter. In your first 3-4 plays of the game, you don't give CMC the ball one time. You know what happened when he got the ball in the first quarter? He ran for almost a first down. So if you don't use your playmakers, and I'm not saying Jennings isn't a playmaker, he's just not the maker. He's not the first one that you're saying, yeah, we're going to run the offense through this guy. He's not that guy. He's just not going to be. And if you could put him on any other team in the league, he's still not going to be that guy. He's just not.
I think someone sees the Jones on the back of that 10 jersey you got in the background there.
Oh yeah, if anybody needs help, let me know. I can help you in life with a lot of different decisions and stuff like that. You can follow me on social media. But if you need help converting a old number 10 jersey, I know how to do that too. So follow me for good life hacks and tips.
He's saying he needs to change it from 10 to any other number before the playoffs are here. We don't need that to have that kind of evil put on us.
Mac Jones is doing good for the team. I'm surprised if Purdy starts again.
Well, honestly, Mac Jones, he played pretty good for a few weeks. The last couple weeks, it's really the wide receivers kind of letting them down, but we're at the point where, occasionally he takes off and rumbles down the field, but he's not necessarily known for being mobile. And our protection is so horrible, we need Purdy and mobility to be effective. I'm just stating facts, buddy. And
it makes sense.
It's just the way it is.
The logic makes sense. What I'm looking at from the difference between Purdy and Mac Jones is, he stands in the pocket a long time, but he's getting the ball out further. He's throwing the ball into positions where we're like, I don't know if I would have thrown that, but the majority of the time they're catching it. That's the stuff that we used to see from Purdy, but then he got conservative. And yeah, he's more mobile, but if his toe isn't mobile, if he comes back and tears up that toe, he's not going to be the same guy. And that's where I feel
and we're going to MetLife this next week, buddy.
The field
we all remember losing Bosa, Thomas, James, all the we lost like pretty much our 2020 season at MetLife. And at this point, they're saying that Mac Jones is playing. It's not a sprained patellar tendon anymore. It's now a knee contusion. Is that worse? Anyone with, like me, I'm yeah, I'm a field medic, but I don't know what the difference between a sprain and a contusion is. And when it comes to me being a field medic, you want some dirt rubbed on it? I'm your guy. But
It's interesting
oh
because
man,
it really is interesting because the stadiums don't have the same field. They're not regulated the same way, nor is baseball. Baseball doesn't have the same diamonds every, or baseball field every stadium. But something with baseball, they got grass. Almost every stadium has grass. I think the Astros, they used to have an Astro field, but nowadays it's like they got these different types of Astro field, and I don't understand why they just can't have grass everywhere, but these guys get tore up, especially when they go to MetLife. And the Niners have had some gruesome injuries there. I guess it won't change until the Chiefs go there and have a bad injury, right?
dude, that's something. That's something. I mean, we're just at the point, Bryant. Like, what do we do here? We have an entire wing of a hospital dedicated to the 49ers somewhere in California. It's almost like we need to have an emergency room in Santa Clara and just mobile mass unit wherever we go, just set up, ready to rock. I mean, this hurts. Look, no pun intended.
Well, I'm not the best. I'm not the best with math, but there's 18 games. There's 53 guys on a roster.
Is there 18? I thought there were 17 games still.
So that makes it even worse. So my analogy is going to be even worse. But if we're going off of 18 games, and we're losing 3 guys a game, that brings it down to 2.9 players a game. And if you're saying there's only 17 games, that's going to be less. So
hold on a second.
We're going to run out of players.
Okay. Your math. Hold on. I'm going to do the actual calculations here. 2.9 times 17.
No, do it like this. We have 17 games, 53. So divide 53 into 17. And then we need to see how many people we're losing. We're losing 3 players every game.
It says 3.117 a game.
Oh boy. We're losing more players.
The math the way I just calculated it a second ago. Give me a second. I'm going to give you an actual.
And if the chat wants to help,
okay, we're gonna have 2 guys of the original 53 left.
Yeah. We're losing everybody. Everybody. We won't have enough to suit up week 18, week 17.
2 guys of the original 53.
We're losing like 3 guys every game, so it doesn't matter who signs a big contract or doesn't sign a big contract.
All right. This brings up another subject. Keep in mind, I got about 10 minutes ish going on here because I'd have a visitor coming over tonight. Should we actually trade for someone, Brian?
I would say yeah.
If we do, what do you think's going to happen to them?
Well, they're going to get injured, but we need to definitely trade for somebody. If we have as much money sitting on the books as you say we do, we're not afraid that the Yorks are just trying to sell off the team, or if we really even care if the Yorks sell the team or not. At this point, everybody keeps getting injured. Do we just? I mean, like, if we don't trade for somebody, do we just put up our hands and say, "Please don't take the car, don't take the wife, don't take the kids, take my cell phone, take my wallet"? I mean, what are we doing here, David? Because we cannot sustain if we keep getting injured, right? As much as we love the 49ers, our love cannot keep the players on the field healthy. We got to bring in some kind of reinforcement,
hold on
right?
a second. Now, I have a gypsy psychic coming over to tell him his future. Oh boy. Maybe I shouldn't read that on YouTube. Now the future it tells me the future. Someone's going to get injured next week. Okay, that's what the future holds. All right, we're going to MetLife Stadium. All we can hope for. I honestly look at it like, would you actually bring Purdy back even if he was healthy?
I mean, you want to
Would you bring him back in MetLife if he was healthy? You know what I would do? I would say, all right, Kyle, let's go back to the Atlanta game plan. Let's run the living F out of the ball and, light a fire under everyone just like you did. Run the F out of the ball. And let's put Adrian Martinez in there at quarterback.
See, you know what I noticed? I noticed the difference between this game and last game. Kittle wasn't on the line blocking. It was National Tight Ends Day. They wanted to get him a touchdown.
That's true. He wasn't blocking. That's all he did in Atlanta. He didn't even try to catch anything. He was just blocking. Honestly, the defensive line we're going against, Bryant. Brian Burns on one side. You got Thibodeau on the other side, rotating with Carter, the 3rd overall pick in the draft. These are their edges. You got old Dexter Lawrence on the inside there. It's like that is just as good as Houston's defensive line. Okay. So, that being said, oh man. Sean, why you calling, buddy? 1 second, please.
It's interesting how the season's gone. We definitely seem to keep having injuries. It's been the way that it's been since Kyle's been here. It does predate Kyle, so it shouldn't be a Kyle problem, but it's definitely a 49er problem. Injuries just don't stop. And yeah, you say, oh, it's the game. All players get hurt. Not the way the Niners have been getting hurt. The Niners seem to have like some kind of weird curse jinx on them, and it just doesn't seem like whatever they do, they can't get away from that rainy cloud. And with Kittle not blocking, it kind of takes away a big angle for us. He's probably the best lineman we have, even though he's a tight end. So you take away a weapon and you make him block, but it makes the rest of the offense, go. So I guess you have to pick your poison. Are we gonna rely on the rest of the team, or are we gonna let Kittle go out there and score? Well, at this point, we can't let Kittle go out there and perform because he's more valued on the offensive line. He's not needed to catch the ball.
Brian, I can't hear you right now.
Really? Well, hopefully everybody else heard that because that was some fire. David, it seems like you're muted. But yeah, folks, it's been a great show. And the 49ers, they just need to bounce back. David, you're still muted. Well, folks, David's having a great time. I don't know, but we are definitely going to bounce back.
Sorry, I'm the shop. The shop. We have a psychological counselor. I'm his favorite guy. I don't know why. I'm his favorite guy. So he's just calling me to talk something over. Anyway, he's a 49er fan, believe it or not, Bryant. And I just told him our math. I said, all right, buddy, so we're doing math. So we lose 3 players a game, 17 games, that's 51 players. We're going to have 2 guys left over from the original 53. He's like, David, he's like.
I mean, you heard it here first, folks. We are running out of players, and before the season's done, we will have a bunch of DoorDash players up there on the line, taking snaps, kicking field goals, catching balls. You got it.
I mean, you never know. We could end up with a Kurt Warner like story, right? This guy was bagging groceries. Now all of a sudden he's a Super Bowl champion.
We'll take a paper boy bagger. We'll take him, and we'll take your guy at In-N-Out. We'll take your guy at Burger King. We'll take anybody who is willing to put the red and gold on. Hey, my application's still in there in the website. So if they need a kicker or they need somebody, boombox guy, I'm coming. I'm coming for you. But David, let's get out of here. It's been a great show. Let's bounce back next weekend. And
now, folks, we got the Giants coming up. Their offense is bad. I hope our defense is just good enough. And Shanahan, buddy, go back to light a fire under your offensive line's butt. And let's see a game like Atlanta here, because that's what you need to do against this defensive front. We'll see, right? But it's always go 49ers. And as Corey Davis says, F all 31 other teams.